Daf Yomi, Tractate Sanhedrin, page 18a. Top of the page with the words Masayim B'Shivim B'Shiva. Matayim B'Shivim B'Shiva. The number of people needed in a city for it to be eligible for a lesser Sanhedrin is 277. This number is based on the opinion of Rabbi Nehemiah, who requires 230 men, but requires an additional 47 men in case it happens that the sages of the court reach a situation where they are not able to arrive at a verdict and pairs of judges need to be added, potentially increasing the number of judges on the court from 23 to 70, a maximum of 47 additional judges. V'atanya Rabbi Omer Masayim B'Shiv Mishmoine Lo Kashya Rabbi Yehuda HaRabbanon. The Gemara asks, but isn't it taught in Braita that Rabbi Yehuda Nasi says the number of men needed in a city for it to be eligible for a lesser Sanhedrin is 278? The Gemara answers, this is not difficult. This Braita that said Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi requires 277 residents is stated in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, who holds that there are 70 judges on the Great Sanhedrin. And this Braita that quoted the number 278 is stated in accordance with the opinion of the rabbis, who hold there are 71. Tanu Rabbanan. Sam Talim Saralafim Saramea Saramishu Zayasarais Saralafim Shishmea Saramea Shishalafim Saramishim Shnemasaralef Sarasarais Shishis Riboy Nimsu Dayan Israel Shivas Riboy Shmasalafim Shishmeais Hadron Aloch Dine Momenis. That means we shall return to you, God willing. Dine Momenos. Since we finished the parak, I'll translate that last line there, last couple lines. Apropos, the opinion of Rabbi Nehemiah, which links the issue of the lesser Sanhedrin with the appointment of the ministers in the wilderness, the Gemara relates, the sages taught, the verse states, and place over them ministers of thousands, ministers of hundreds, ministers of fifties, and ministers of tens. Exodus 18:21. The number of ministers of thousands was 600, as there were 600,000 men in total. The number of ministers of hundreds was 6,000. Of ministers of fifties was 12,000, and ministers of tens 60,000. Therefore, it is found that the number of judges of the Jewish people was 78,600, and suitable people were found to fit all of these positions. We shall return to you, Dine Mamonos, Dine Mamonot. God willing, we shall return to you. And now we start the second parak, second chapter of Sanhedrin, called Kohen Gadol. It's called High Priest. And the Mishnah starts, Kohen Gadol Dan V'danin Oto, Me'idin Oto, חולץ וחולצים לאשתו ומייבין את אשתו, אבל הוא אינו מייבם מפני שהוא אסור באלמנה. The Mishnah says the high priest judges others if he is sufficiently wise, and others judge him when he transgresses. He testifies before the court, and others testify concerning him. He performs chalitza with his brother's widow, and his brother performs chalitza with his wife, and his brother, that is, if they didn't have any children, and and his brother consummates levirate marriage with his wife, but he does not consummate levirate marriage with his brother's widow because it is prohibited for him to marry a widow. See Leviticus 21:14, and can therefore never fulfill the mitzvah of levirate marriage, as a Yavama is by definition a widow. Meis loy meis, eino yoitze, achar hamito, ela hen nichsin, v'hu nigla, hen niglin, v'hu nichse, Yotzi Mahem Ad Pesach Sha'ir, Divid Rabbi Meir. If a relative of the high priest dies, he does not follow the buyer carrying the corpse, since it is prohibited for the high priest to become ritually impure, even for immediate relatives. See Leviticus 21:11. Rather, once the members of the funeral procession are concealed from sight and by turning onto another street, he is revealed on the street they departed, and when they are revealed, then he is concealed, and in this way he goes out with them until the entrance of the gate of the city, from where they would take out the corpse, since the dead were not buried in Jerusalem. This is the statement of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Ein yoytze min hamikdash, Yishum shenemar umin hamikdash lo yetze. Rabbi Yehuda says he does not emerge from the temple, and at all, for the burial of his relatives. And it is stated, and from the temple he shall not emerge, and will not desecrate the temple of his God. And for the separateness of the oil of the anointment is of his God is on him. Leviticus 21:12. Umishum menachem amcherim derech kol adam oiver v'zeh achazev ha'baruya ממצאי בינו לבין העם, כשהוא מתנחם אחרים, כל העם אומרים לו, אנחנו כפרתך, והוא אומר להן, תתברכו מן השמיים. כשמוברין אותו, כל העם מסובין על הארץ, והוא מעשיו על הספסל. The Mishnah continues, when he consoles others in their mourning, when they return from burial, the way of all the people is that they pass by one another, and the mourners stand in a line and are consoled, and the appointed person stands in the middle between the high priest and the people, and when he is consoled by others in mourning, all the people say to him, "We are your atonement." And he says to them, "May you be blessed from heaven." And when they comfort him with the first meal after the burial of one of his relatives, all the people recline on the ground as if they are taking his mourning on themselves, and he reclines on the bench out of respect for his status as high priest. Hamelech lo dan v'lo dainoto. Okay. Hamelech לא דן ולא דיין אותו, לא מעיד לא מעידין אותו, לא חולץ ולא חוצין לאשתו, לא מייבם ולא יבמין לאשתו. יהודה אומר, אם רצה לחלוץ או לייבם, זכור לטוב. אמר לו, אין שומעים לו. The Mishnah continues, enumerating the halachot pertaining to the king in similar matters. The king does not judge others as a member of the court, and others do not judge him. He does not testify, and others do not testify concerning him. He does not perform chalitza with his brother's widow, and his brother does not perform chalitza with his wife, and he does not consummate levirate marriage with his brother's widow, and his brother does not consummate levirate marriage with his wife. He does not consummate levirate marriage with his wife, as all these actions are not fitting to the honor of his office. Rabbi Yehuda says these are not restrictions, but is his prerogative. If he desired to perform chalitza or to consummate levirate marriage, he is remembered for a good, as this is the benefit of his brother's widow. The sages said to him, they do not listen to him, meaning if he desires to do so, this affects only his own honor, but that of the kingdom. Well, Rabbi Yehuda Omer Nosech HaMelech Al Manaseh Shel Melech Shekain Matzinu David Shenasa Al Manaseh Shel Shaul Shnever Etnena Ve'etna Lecha Et Beit Adonecha Et Neshei Adonecha V'Chachecha. And no one may marry a king's widow due to his honor. Rabbi Yehuda says another king may marry the widow of a king, as we found that King David married the widow of King Saul, as it stated, "And I have given you the house of your master and the wives of your master in your bosom." 2 Samuel 12:8. Okay, that was the Mishnah. And now for the Gemara. The Gemara says, Kohen Gadol Dan. Pshita, this is obvious. Dani no so yitzrich alei. Hanami pshita. I lo dan le ihu hechi dayin. V'ketiv v'koshishu v'koshi v'amar ish lakish kshot atzmecha v'achar kach kshot acherim. The Mishnah teaches that the high priest judges others as a member of a court. The Gemara asks, isn't that obvious? Why should one think that he would be unfit to serve as a judge? The Gemara answers, it was necessary for the Mishnah to mention the latter clause, as others judge him, and therefore it is taught taught the related halakha with it. The Gemara objects, this is also obvious. If others do not indulge him, how can he judge others? But isn't it written, gather yourselves together? Yes. Gather together in Zephaniah 2:1. It's koshishu ve'koshu. I think that's it. And Reish Lakish says, this verse teaches a moral principle. Adorn, cachet yourself, and then adorn others. One who is not likely to subject to judgment may not judge others. Okay. Ela idi dikabai lemisni melech. We're doing on time here. Okay, we're doing pretty good. Because the melech lo dan yani no so Tani nabi kohen god lo dan so we was him kamash milan. The Kedetanya kohen gadol sheharaget nefesh b'mezid nerag b'shagi goyle over al asevia lo sase. Harehu kihayid l'chol devarav. Rather, the halakha concerning the high priest is a novelty. But since the Tana wants to teach that the king does not judge others and others do not judge him, he also taught that the high priest judges others and others judge him. And if you wish, say instead that this teaches us the halacha as it is taught in the Braita, Tosefta, for one and a high priest who killed a person intentionally is killed. If he killed unintentionally, he is exiled to the city of refuge, and he transgresses a positive mitzvah and a prohibition. And he is like an ordinary person concerning all of his halachot. The Gemara analyzes the Braita, a high priest who killed another intentionally is killed. Isn't that obvious? Why would he be punished differently in such other demeanors? It was necessary for it to mention the latter clause, for if he killed unintentionally, he is exiled, so it taught the related case with it. Hi nami pshita istrich salkadai techamina hayol kse v'yesh ba ad mois hakohen hagadol ema lo ditle takanta b'chazara digle le takanta b'chazara lo digle letnan. The Gemara objects. This is also obvious. The Gemara responds, it was necessary for the Braita to state the latter clause, lest it enter your mind to say, since it is written about one who kills unintentionally, and he is exiled to a city of refuge, and he should dwell in the midst of the high priest. Numbers 35:25. Say, anyone for whom there is a rectification by returning from the city of refuge is exiled, but one for whom there is no rectification by returning is not exiled. The high priest has no such rectification, as we learned in a Mishnah. Makot B, and that's A.